Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, sportsbooks, prize picks, all that good stuff. All these videos they get posted to this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports. I'll have it linked down below. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate. I will always be here up to lock, sometimes after lock. As you can see, I make updates, what it changes about the slate. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X right here. I'll have that link down below. And if you're looking for more in-depth content, I'll have my Discord link down below where, I give you guys cores, player pools, videos, sportsbooks content, prize picks, all that good stuff. That'll be linked down below. So without further ado, let's just get into my lineups from the past couple days. I believe we haven't gone over. No, just yesterday. Or wait, I don't know if I told you guys how the other day ended, but back-to-back easy caches for me. I forget if I showed you guys this lineup. I think I did, but so we won't go over it again. But these were yesterday's lineups. Great day for me. What I wanted to do here yesterday was just load up on Chicago. They were my favorite team to target. And what sucks is I actually had Cornette and Keontae George here. And once we got the news that Keta was starting, I had the money to go up to Josh Giddey. That costed me so much money. Keontae George went for like 55. Josh Giddey had a floor game. Cost me so much money. But my core for today was Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Damian Lillard, and Bobby Portis. So core nuked. And yeah, I told everyone load up on Boston if you want. Load up on Chicago. And then the value plays: Keyshawn George, Bub Carrington, Ayo Dosunmu. Those are my three favorite value plays on the slate, along with Keta or Luke Cornett, whoever started there. So this lineup cashed. And then my flag play in GPPs was Jason Tatum. I played him in that lineup. Didn't get to him in this lineup. But same kind of thing. As you can see, I just loaded up on the Bulls. Patrick Williams became a really solid value. He was only 1% owned. Had a bit of a iffy game, but as you can see, I played Vooch. I played Kobe White. I played Ayo. I played Paul. I played Giddey. I just loaded up on Chicago. And 30% owned, 25% owned, 27, sorry. Ayo 60% faded, Josh Giddey 70% faded, although bad game, right? But you can just see, loaded up on the shorthanded teams, and then I played, of course, Dame and Portis with Giannis out, who got a massive bump. So, really solid day. Hopefully, you guys had a great night. We got a massive 10-game slate to go over here. I'm not going to go over too much into detail. We'll just go over who I have interest in, how much I like them, if I don't like them. Not going to go too crazy. We'll try to get you guys out of here in under 20 minutes. Hopefully the video is not over 20 minutes long. But let's do it. Great spot here for Detroit. I mean, Cade Cunningham's just been on an absolute tear this season. 8.5K. I mean, if he's going to continue to play the way he is, stuffing the stat sheet, playing big minutes, Detroit's running a tighter rotation this year. I think you have to have interest. I think he's a really solid play. The only issue is you're locking him up early as an early spot with so much potential news later. That's the only downside of playing anyone in these early games here is we could have some really great plays in these later games. But as it stands right now, I think he's a great play. And Jaden Ivey, I keep saying it. They've talked so much this in the offseason how they want him to take a massive leap this year, and so far he's doing it. Averaging 24 and 3.6 so far to start the year. 6.1K is a reasonable price point. He's averaging over 5x his salary right now. I still think he's too cheap. I think he's a solid play, and nice eligibility with the shooting guard. Jalen Duren, this guy is just always in foul trouble. I think this is a matchup he could exploit, though, going up against Charlotte. Nobody's going to play him tomorrow. Actually, they might, because centers typically do go over owned up against Charlotte. But if he's low owned tomorrow, I'm going to love him in GPPs. It's just too cheap of a price point if he stays out of foul trouble. She'll play around 30 minutes. Great matchup. Good point per minute guy. Probably going to get you a double-double. Can get some defensive stats. So the top three guys here for Detroit look pretty damn solid to me. Tobias Harris, super safe. Just going to play massive minutes. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a playable value, but we might have better value opening up later. I think that's going to do it for Detroit. I don't think I'm really touching too much else here for Detroit. Yeah, playing NHL today. So moving on to Charlotte. Mark Williams out, Nick Richards out. Why are we starting Taj Gibson in 2024? What are we doing here? Just why? You have Musa. You have Musa on. What are we doing? I don't understand it, man. I don't. I'm not gonna play Taj Gibson. No, just start Grant Williams or start Musa. It's as simple as that. Um, just disgusting. They went with LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller. Um, I believe Josh Green and Taj Gibson. I have the rotations up as always. I look at the rotations. I believe that was the starter. I do forget stuff. Yeah, starters right there. So good spot here going up against Detroit. I mean, I always have interest in LaMelo. His potential assist numbers are down of late, which is a little bit odd to me, but should play big minutes as long as the game does stay competitive and he stays out of foul trouble. Like if we're looking at the spin ups on slate, you have some great spin ups. Luka, I love. Jokic, I love. Anthony Davis is great in a good spot. What else do we have here? You have Victor Wembanyama. SGA, Jason Tatum with no Jaylen Brown. So many great spin ups on the slate. So I don't think he's going to rank like as one of the better spin ups on the board, but always interest there. Miles Bridges, this guy's horrible. Brandon Miller at 6'7", tough to get there. What else do we have here? Man with like Brandon Miller back, not as good of a play. And then yeah, just start Musa or start Grant Williams at the 5. I don't know what we're doing here. Orlando, Paolo's going to continue to be out. Wendell Jr. out. Now, we do have Goga Bitadze back. Now, if he starts again, I really like him for value. Typically a good point per minute guy as long as he can stay out of foul trouble. So if we get Goga starting, he's a really good value. What else? Tristan Da Silva at 3.9K started as well. Can pull up the rotation here. He won people a lot of money last game. So starters were with Paolo and Wendell Jr. out. They were Tristan, Suggs, Franz, Goga, Kentavious Caldwell Pope. What else do we have here? I think Franz at 7-7 gonna of course lead the way offensively. Gonna play big minutes. Spot's fine. I think it's a solid play. Jalen Suggs at 6'9". Also, his potentials are gonna go way up with no Paolo. Paolo is playing a lot of point forward, right? He should be playing a ton of minutes, so his floor plus ceiling goes way up. I think he's a decent play. Then yeah, if we get like Goga starting, he's a really good value. Don't love KCP, and then if we get Tristan Da Silva, he's a playable value. So it'll be like what? Franz Suggs, that's 2. Goga 3, KCP 4, Tristan Da Silva 5. Yeah. I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah, that's gonna do it for Orlando. I think like Tristan solid. Really like Goga if he starts again. And then the top 2 guys look pretty solid. Moving on to the Pacers, keep an eye on the Andrew Nembhard news. We do have Aaron Nesmith out. So if Nembhard's out, they're going to go with Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin. And I would just assume it'd be like a Ben Shepherd just get thrown into the starting lineup. Then you'll see more minutes for like a T.D. McConnell. But they'll have to run their starters into the ground, especially if Nembhard's out. If Nembhard's out, Tyrese Halliburton gets a bump significantly with his potential assists. Love to see his potentials are going way back up as well. Should play big minutes. AK does seem like a little too cheap. Don't mind him as a bounce back candidate. Matchups not the best, but a little bit better with Orlando missing some players. Siakam at 7.6 is fine. Miles Turner at 6.2K. She'll play big minutes. He does clearly have a ceiling. I do think the price point is a little bit too cheap. And yeah, if Nembhard's out, even with Nembhard in, they should start Mathurin with Nesmith out. Mathurin, good point per minute guy. Guy's going to chuck when he's out there. Like him quite a bit for value. He's too cheap. Nembhard, don't love. Would rather just play Mathurin. And yeah, if we get like Ben Shepherd in the starting lineup, he's fine for value. But we'll have better value opening up later. Moving on to New York, we have Cam Payne. Questionable. We'll see if he's out. If he's out, it's just going to be like more massive minutes for Brunson. He might play the entire game, right? But great spot going up against Atlanta. I don't know how you can't really like both Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson. I love both tomorrow. Cat playing the 5, rates go way up. Jalen Brunson, especially if Payne's out, going to have to play a ton of minutes. I think both these guys look great. I like the secondary piece here. Josh Hart at 6'3", playing massive minutes. Great spot for him. I think he's a really solid play. I think he'll pick up some ownership tomorrow. Mikal Bridges at 6K I think is fine. OG's playable at 5K, and then you'll mainly just see like Miles McBride off the bench. Then yeah, if Cam Payne's out, Brunson just inject for massive minutes. Trae Young is probable, not the best spot going up against the Knicks, but I think at 10.6K he's getting to where he should be. It's not an amazing play to me. Jalen Johnson at 8.7, I still think is firmly in play at this price point, but once again, not an amazing play, but great point per minute guy, great rebounder, going to stuff the stat sheet, going to play massive minutes, super safe there. Dyson's overpriced. Capella Kongwu, they'll kind of split the center minutes. Hard to like either one of them. And And if DeAndre Hunter's back, it kind of takes all the value out of play for me. If he's in, or sorry, if he is out, you can go to like a Rishisher or Garrison Matthews, but they're at their price points. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors, great spot here for Steph Curry. Sub 9K. I believe he was on a limit last game. But just keep an eye on it. I already took his points prop. If he's going to get his normal minutes here, I love him in GPP. It's just such a great matchup going up against Boston. And it really takes everyone else out of play for me with him coming back. So it's mainly just Steph Curry for me up at the top. Boston, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis are out for this game. Jason Tatum, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, and Keta started last game. If we get Keta starting again, and we get like around 25 minutes at 3.2, he's going to grade out as one of the better value plays on the slate. If we get Cornette starting, he would look like a really good value. Al Horford at 5-1 should play mid-20s minutes. Fine as like a filler play for me. And then I'm pretty high on Derek White and Drew Holiday once again. I think both are way too cheap. Derek White gets a huge usage bump with no Jaylen Brown. And then Peyton Pritchard should see around 30 minutes. He's a good point per dollar play as well. And then Sam Hauser is actually in play too. She'll play around 20 minutes. He gets a bump off the bench as well. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for Boston. Let's move on to the Lakers. 80 is questionable. If he's out, are they going to start Jackson Hayes? I know Jackson Hayes is dealing with like that drama, but they don't really have anyone else. They have nobody else. So I think they'd be forced to. I think he'd have to play a ton of minutes. Really good value if AD's out. Then if AD's out, LeBron looks phenomenal. Reeves looks great. D'Lo looks great. Rui will be very good. This whole team would look phenomenal if Anthony Davis is out. If AD plays, it's mainly just the top two guys for me and Reeves. I think AD would be a great spend up. LeBron's still too cheap, and then Reeves would be solid. Wouldn't really be getting to anyone else here. Rui is playable. Moving on to Memphis, so great spot here for John Morant. Desmond Bane's still out. I mean, he's going to play his low 30s minutes. I think they're going to continue to slowly tick up his minutes. So if you get like around 34, 35 minutes tomorrow in a great spot going up against the Lakers, and people continue to not want to click on him, I'm going to love him in GPPs. His assist numbers are just way, way up this year as well. So I really like John in GPPs. Jaren Jackson Jr. is playable. More of like a filler play for me. Same with like Santi Aldama. Wells is priced right. Same with LaRavia. But if we're going to keep playing Zach Edey over 22 minutes a game at this price point, I think you have to have interest. The only issue here is Zach Edey is super, super foul prone going up against AD. Yeah, you can just imagine two quick ones just absolutely instantly. Keep an eye on Conchar, etc. If he's out, like I said, it's going to be more minutes for like, the secondary guys, well as LaRavia. Moving on to San Antonio. So if Jeremy Sochan is out for tomorrow, Keldon Johnson, I would assume, moves into the starting lineup. Then he'll probably get more minutes for like the guards, Branham, Castle, and then more minutes for the starters. But if everyone's in here, I think Wemby is just okay spend up, 10.4K. I don't mind it. Chris Paul at 5'9". His offensive role has been much, much better of late. Of course, he's a guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet as well. So I think he's too cheap. So I really like Chris Paul tomorrow. Sochan's fine, but getting to the price point to where he should be. Keldon finally had a good game, I believe. Okay, that was 2 games ago. And then Champagny is a fine value. Same with like Harrison Barnes. And then, yeah, if Sochan's out, bump to Champagny, bump to Keldon. Keldon will look pretty good at that price point. And then, yeah, bump to like Branham, Castle, Harrison Barnes. Moving on to Houston here. So, yeah, they finally they played Sengun, and this is what he does when he gets the minutes. So if we're going to play Sengun and we're not going to troll his minutes, like him quite a bit in GPPs. The rest here, I don't love too much. Tari Eason's minutes have been slowly ticking up of late. If you think they continue to ride the hot hand with him, you could look to him in large field GPPs, but I'm not too excited about anyone here outside of like Sengun. Alright guys, last 4 games here. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff here. The super juicy stuff here. Alright, Cleveland, Karis LeVert, Dean Wade, questionable. If they're both out, you should get a lot more minutes for Sam Merrill. I would like him as a dart. I played him 2 slates ago, but he'll get a pretty nice bump with those 2 guys out. Guy's going to chuck when he's out there. Don't mind that. Okoro started. He'd be a playable value, but just bad point per minute. And it's a bump to like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, who I think are fine plays. Both the bigs look similar to me. If LeVert and Wade are in, then I'm probably not playing the value, and then everyone else should just be fine for me. All right, most important news on the slate. Zion Williamson, we got to wait for. Jordan Hawkins, we got to wait for as well. So if they're both out, Brandon Ingram, you should get a starting lineup. Brandon Ingram, Jose Alvarado, Missy, Brandon Boston Jr., and JRE. I want to say they went with yesterday. I believe so. Yeah, okay, correct. And then you'll see Devontae Green off the bench. They didn't play him that much, and Jalen Noel got some run. Interesting. But if we get the same situation today or tomorrow that happened yesterday, Brandon Ingram would look phenomenal. Jose Alvarado would look amazing. Missy already really good value. Still expecting him to start. What else do we got here? Brandon Boston Jr. would be one of my favorite values on the slate. JRE would look phenomenal for value. Did Jamal Cain even play? Only 12. That's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, I think you would need some Pels tomorrow if they're all rolled out. If we get like Zion out and Hawk in, then I would still love Brandon Ingram. Would really like Hawkins. Would love Alvarado. Missy would be solid. Still would like Brandon Boston. And JRE would still be playable. And if we get Zion and Hawk in, then, fire up some Zion. Ingram would still look good. Alvarado would still be decent. Same with like Hawk. Missy would still be solid value. We'll kind of just take these other guys, a little bit downgrades to them. And then the other piece of news we got to wait on here is Zach LaVine. Everyone else is probable. If Zach LaVine's out, we know what to do. I would assume it would stand out as one of the best plays on the slate. The guards would look great. Nikola Vucevic, you guys know I always like to target Daniel Gafford, would look great to me, and then you'll get bumps to like Dalen Terry, etc., etc. If we get LaVine in, no standouts here. I think LaVine and Vuce are like fine. Moving on to Dallas, great spot for them. Chicago's playing a lot faster this year. I love Luka Doncic, one of my favorite spin-ups on the board. I think Kyrie Irving at 8-2 is a really good play. Love both the top two guys here. If Derek Lively's out, Daniel Gafford shoots up to a really good value. P.J. Washington's fine. I'm not going to play Clay. Moving on to OKC, love Chet Holmgren tomorrow. Love him. You guys know, drop coverage, going up against Denver, great spot. I love Chet Holmgren tomorrow. I think SGA is fine. Jalen Williams is playable. Not too much else here. We just have so much better value. Love Jokic tomorrow. If we get Jamal out, Russell Westbrook would look like one of the best plays in the slate. Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon. I forgot he got injured. I put him on night slate. But with Aaron Gordon out, you should get more run for like Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther. I think they're decent values, especially if Jamal Murray's out. Christian Braun's going to play a ton of minutes. Yeah. And then Jokic would look phenomenal if Jamal Murray's out. There's going to be a decent amount to like here. Keep it on starting lineup as well, especially if Jamal Murray's out. Miami, nothing. We can just close these last two games. Nothing here for me that I'm really liking. Although Yusuf Nurkic, I think at 5-3 is too cheap. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Hope you guys had a great day, and we'll talk to you guys later.